All right. I'm Broadleaf Bully Kevin.
I'm Broadleaf Bully Jess.
I'm Broadleaf Bully Kerr, and we are
The
Broadleaf
Broadleaf
Bullies.
We fucking do it well without Jen every time.
We talk. You listen. We're the Broadleaf Bullies. And here's your hosts, Kev, Kerr, Jessie, and Jen.
I didn't mean to be so rude about that, but that was spot on.
I think you're right. I think it's just Jen's voice that I'm trying to pair with. So I think it is
Oh
her.
my gosh.
I think it is her fault.
I don't know. I'm
Terrible
used to tuning
approach.
lots of people out, so I just hear myself and say,
Well, you see, that's the thing. Kevin's trying to tune into Jen's voice.
Yeah.
You're just tuning out everybody.
yeah.
And the only two people who are ever on cue are me and Kev.
What?
Yeah.
Kevin's always off.
I
He's
think
the
last
one-
week,
he's the
last time when you weren't here, Jess, it was really like it was all over the place. And I blame my lovely Jennifer.
Yeah.
I love her, but I still blame her.
Oh,
What are you guys smoking?
go ahead.
I am smoking the Sinistro Honor Among Thieves.
Oh, nice.
I'm smoking the Essential by Provincia Cigars.
Oh, is that good?
It's
Okay.
really good. I've had, I don't know, about 10 different kinds of
Yeah.
their cigars, like the Boombox, the Sunday Fun Day, and they have a bunch of good ones, but this one's actually really good. But their house blends, I love. Their house blends, hands down, are fantastic.
Yeah, I've been trying to get them on the show, Kerr, but man, it's hard. I mean, it's hard to get both partners, together and responding.
I don't even know. I don't even know how. I was looking for Ezra Zion cigars, and I was like going through all these different websites, and I came across this one website, and it had like a bunch of their cigars, and I was like, oh, let me try these cigars. These look interesting, and but I bought a bunch of their house blends, not in like they're not even banded or anything, and those were my favorite. They were so good.
I
So
like good
this is
house
my
blend.
last one from this.
Oh,
Did you just type? Oh, Kerry just typed that. Okay. All right. I already knew I was going to get ganked up on.
What are you smoking tonight, Kerr?
I'm smoking the Send Naked Pics.
yeah.
Naked pics.
This is of the one that the Kevin Shahan.
Yeah,
All things Kevin.
Yeah, we got the other guy on there from Nickel City Cigars. We got him on the show.
Matt.
Yeah.
No,
Not Matt. Matt Booth. My brains.
Tommy Farrell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tommy.
And it was funny. I was at a PCA with Ed, and like there's like one person that like Ed kept pointing to, and he's like, "Is that Tommy Farrell from Nickel City?" He goes, "That looks like Tommy," and I go, "I don't know." I go, "I've never seen Tommy in person." I go, "He looks like Tommy, but who knows what people look like." I was surprised to see how tall people were, short people were.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know. So it was like a half hour later, he sees the guy again. I think that's Tommy Farrell. So I walked up to the guy. I go, "Hey, are you Tommy Farrell from Nickel City Cigars?" He goes, "I am not." And he goes, and then he just looks at me. He's like, "I feel like that's a lot to live up to." I go, "It is a lot to live up to."
That's
yeah.
hilarious.
Of course,
So,
Kevin just went right up to.
Yeah, I guess I probably
should.
should have asked him his name. I'm like, "Oh, hey, I'm Kevin. Who are you?"
Oh, you didn't get his name afterwards?
No,
Just
no,
walked away from it?
we just walked away. Yeah. In hindsight, I should have been more,
It's typical.
been like, "Oh, you're not Tommy Farrell. Move
You
along."
are not part of my agenda. You
Yeah.
have been eliminated from
Then
move
the
along.
thing.
peasants.
Kevin walks over to Ed. That's not him.
Yeah, no, Ed came up with
Oh,
me.
okay.
Yeah,
I was-
we did eventually meet up with Tommy. Once I finally saw Tommy, I'm like, "That's Tommy Farrell." So.
And you gave that other
yeah.
guy a story to tell all his friends that night.
Yeah.
Like, I was got the fucking beer cabinet. But asked me if I was Tommy Farrell, and I just said, "No, I'm not." Did he ask your name? No, he just walked away from it.
No, what the story will be is they'll be watching something like him and his buddies, or his buddy will be watching a video and he'll see me and be like, "Hey, that's that dick I saw at PCA." He didn't even introduce himself.
I know.
And his buddy will be like, Kevin from Cigarprop? You met him?
Yeah. Oh, what you guys talk about? Nothing.
About
Yeah,
being
this guy,
somebody
Tommy,
else.
Yeah.
My,
And when I
my
said no,
doppelganger.
He just
Yeah.
walked away with this glazed look in his eyes, like freaking the Terminator not finding. Are you Sarah Connor? No.
Yeah.
Moving right along.
Oh my God.
So
Kevin.
Jen's back is hurting her.
Yeah, she hasn't been really sleeping well lately.
Yeah.
You know, and then her back is really bad. I mean, she was just.
Didn't she jack it up a couple weeks ago? Didn't she say she moved a big dude?
Yeah, she did,
Yeah.
and then just not sleeping well after Cooper, passing.
Yeah.
And, last night it was like, I don't know. I was in my mode of just watching Game of Thrones. I was like, I'm gonna finish season 1, and at one point I just looked, I'm like, what the hell? She just kept tossing and turning. And the thing with Jen is, and she's not here to defend herself, which is even better, is when she gets like can't get comfortable, when she tosses and turns, she's like Charles Barkley under the freaking backboard. Like it like she freaking elbows. She'll rip covers off me without a
what?
no fucks given. Well, like just like she's always I'm like, what the fuck, Jen? I can't get comfortable.
Right.
You don't say.
Yeah. Well, I'm uncomfortable too now. Thank you.
Yeah.
We were both now uncomfortable. Kevin. Kevin will. It doesn't matter. I could be half asleep, and if he's getting in bed, he literally like kind of plops in the bed, shuffles his arms around but he no consideration.
Well,
at all.
I can't get comfortable.
Pushes the dog into me.
I can't get comfortable with my
this
leg.
Is without your leg
do
being
you
injured.
remember that one time? I don't know, it was like 3 or 4 months ago when I think I was still on crutches. And I had that spasm, and I punched you in the face.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Like I moved the wrong way, and that ice pick twisted,
like,
and then I just
me.
my arms went straight out.
It wasn't even a punch; it was more of like a whack. But still, I was like, Kevin, you just fucking hit me, you asshole. Yeah. So I feel you, Kerr, with the whole.
It's incredible. I was just like, Jen. It happens a lot, and I'm just like, what the shit is like? I just can't get comfortable. I'm like, yeah, I'm aware. First of all, and for 2, you're taking covers off me. You're flailing around. I'm sorry, my back's killing me. So her back is really fucking.
I tell you, as and luckily, I haven't had a back flare up in probably almost a year now, knock on wood.
Yeah.
But man, when it, I think when we first met, it was almost exactly like every year. It was like August, September. Yep. I would do something and it would go out for like a month, and it's fucking brutal.
Well, I mean, he's going to the chiropractor tomorrow, which is good, to kind of do like a consultation about. Well, you already kind of had a consultation, but now at least you can stay on top of to the chiropractor. The back,
because that's what always helped is just being proactive. I never. It's my,
when you stopped
Kerr,
going, it got
Kerr. Well, I said when you hurt your back, it takes 4 to 6 weeks. But if you just do your stretches and keep that proactive, it just when you do actually hurt your back, like it's nothing. It's like a week. And you're good. So
but the littlest shit too. Like I always fuck my back up. It's the littlest, dumbest shit.
It'll be like you sitting in that chair and like just reaching off for a cutter and like ah.
Well, I don't.
You feel that jerk. You feel it like
know.
that, like when a fish bites the line.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, and then I always do the. I'm like, fuck. That's not gonna be good. That's not gonna be good.
Yeah.
Not going to be good.
When we went to Philly and came back, I fucked my back up.
Yeah.
From just having to sit the way I did to like accommodate you. Plus I was like plus it was just think I was just tense and stressed like just for the last like few months. It took what, like 3 weeks for my back to even somewhat.
It was every bit of a month.
Yeah, it hurt so fucking bad. Like it just hurt so bad, and I was like, I don't know what I did.
Because you wouldn't go to the chiropractor.
I will never go.
She didn't even want to go with me to the consultation tomorrow because she thinks it's like a.
I think he's tricking me.
I think it's a sneaky Pete, and like we're having a you know, and then he's just going to be
An
like
intervention.
Yeah, he's just gonna like
An
sit me
adjustment
in.
intervention.
He's just gonna sit me in a chair, and then he's gonna be like, "Oh, hey, Jess, you can just sit on that table right there for a second." And then as he's adjusting me, he's gonna go up like grab Jess, go. Ah!
Yeah, but here's the
fucking
thing:
great.
is that I already know that I'm never gonna be relaxed. Like even if I went there and was like a willing participant. Instantaneously, I'm going to punch the guy in the face. It's going to be a reaction, and I will not be able to stop myself. I will tackle him.
He's got to sneak up on me sometimes. And
I can't do it.
And then when he can't, I know, when I'm tensing, when he gets up at my middle back and he's doing the adjustments, it always hurts, like right between my shoulder blades. So I'll tense up and. Like he'll rub it and like he'll ask me a question and right in the middle of a breath talking, he's like, ah! And I'm like, ah!
Yeah, I'm not falling for that. I'll be on guard the whole time. I will end up breaking my own back just so this person can't touch me.
Are you like George Costanza? Do you ever see that episode when he goes to get the massage and he gets the male male masseuse?
Yeah.
And he's like really tense. He's like, hey, so how you doing? Good. How'd your leg? Korea.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, anytime I've ever gotten a massage or a deep tissue massage, my back always cracks or like it just. I'm so relaxed and all of a sudden my body just goes.
I was telling her.
I can do the massage.
I told her. I said when I went there last week and he just adjusted my back. It was too close to the surgery, so he didn't want to touch my knee yet. And I just laid down on the table, and it was like that. It just just the way the table is. Mm-hmm. My back just like from top to bottom, just like just a bunch of cracking fingers. I'm like,
but when we go tomorrow, I do want to talk to him about the acupuncture.
Yeah,
because I think that's something you should definitely try.
My dad swears by acupuncture.
Yeah, my sister does.
Jen hates freaking massages. We've established. She literally comes back.
Oh, I love
more tense than she did when she got there. Like, it's like
how is that possible?
I'm like, I paid somebody $75 to make you more wound up. I could have done it for free and had some fun with that.
Yeah.
What is it about the massages?
I would have joined in, Kerr. She'd have had 2 for 1. You know,
she doesn't like people touching her. It's really weird.
I don't like people touching me either. But a massage, like when I go in, they have like they ask you.
Massage is like the definition of touching you.
I know, but what I'm saying is, though, like, I don't want people just like randomly like touching me. Like, I know I'm going in there and they're going to make my body feel better. There's a difference between people in your space, like touching you for no reason, and then people massaging you to make your body feel better and your muscles and stuff. I don't know. That doesn't bother me. But it's weird because they ask you like where you don't want to be touched, and always instantly my face. Do not even during massage. If they go near my face, I'm instantly like. Don't touch me.
I love massages. I'm like everything. Touch like anywhere you want.
Yeah,
anywhere you want.
But I don't want a dude touching me.
Why? Who cares about that?
No.
Male or female doesn't matter.
No. Whenever I would call up, because I used to go in like once every 6 weeks.
So why didn't you do the couple one with me when Sarah got that for us?
We couldn't plan it out.
No, you said you didn't want to go.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. You were like, I'll never do it.
That's what you said to me. No, I'll never have time to do it.
You have time for everything else but that.
So,
okay.
Yeah, because I used to go in because I used to have like just my neckline. The same person would just wax my neckline underneath my hairline on my neck, back of my neck, and I used to do the massage. But every time I'd call up, I'd be like, no dudes. They're like, all right, not a problem. Yeah, no. I just say that at the beginning, no dudes.
Yep. No, I'm the same way too.
Don't want a guy to. I wouldn't let a male dental hygienist work on me.
Yeah.
I don't want a man's. I tolerate my dentist touching me when he has to. Yeah.
Why?
You
have a male doctor.
Masseuse. Still though, it's just something different. A male masseuse is completely different.
Yeah,
it's like
doctor, what were you gonna say, Kevin?
A doctor's different.
Why is a doctor's different?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Why?
The doctor's different. Now, I would prefer to have my yearly physicals done by a woman. I don't want another dude touching my junk. But this is the first male doctor I've ever had, is Dr. Ravid. I've only had female doctors.
So bizarre. For me, I don't care.
It doesn't matter for me with a doctor or anybody else. Just a massage therapist. It can't be a male. I swear to God, that episode of Seinfeld is like George is like, it moved, Jerry.
Yeah, I think it moved.
Maybe it's a guy thing. I don't know, but like for me, I don't care. I've had male gynecologists. I mean, I don't care.
That dude touches his junk, and I don't want that hands touching me.
Right.
I don't care how you can't wash that off.
What the fuck? I don't. Whatever. I don't even care.
Yeah,
I don't have a preference. I don't care. If they're treating me and they're gonna fix or make anything, if they're there to care for me, I don't care if you're male or female. It doesn't bother me. I trust that you're a professional.
There's something about it, it's like this. Just even like when I would go to get my hair cut, a male barber's fine, right?
Oh yeah.
Cut my hair.
Why is that okay?
I'm telling you.
Okay.
Male barber's fine. I've had Jennifer does her hair. Her stylist does my hair too. But if I'm gonna have someone wash my hair,
gotta be a woman.
It's gotta be a woman.
Yeah.
You guys are so fucked up in the head. You know that, right? Like
No.
there's like a male chauvinist fucking thought process going on.
Well,
in your brains, it's a woman's job to wash your hair.
No,
you're going way down.
No, you're not. You're wrong when you say
one.
it's a chauvinistic thing.
Yeah,
it's an interpersonal thing with me. I don't want a man touching me. It's not like a woman can do a better job. I'm sure men can do a much better job at cutting hair, at giving massages than any
that's the
can.
chauvinistic part, Jennifer.
That's a fact.
Jess, right there.
I know.
Let's draw the line. Do not mistake it a male chauvinistic statement. That one was a male chauvinistic statement.
So, but yes, I just don't want a dude touching me.
And that's the thing with me. It's not. I don't think it's a woman's job, and exactly that. I don't think that at all. I just have a personal preference. I don't want a man washing my hair and massaging my scalp, and I don't want a man rubbing my body and giving me a massage.
I feel like it's so weird. I go to a nail salon. Most of the time, it's a male that does my nails. Like it's not even a female. I cannot comprehend where the two of you are coming from.
When you talk about your fingernails, I'm talking about my thighs. I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So what?
There's a big difference between this.
There's women who do that.
And going, hey,
but there's
nice nails, and going,
you're not hearing me. There's women who
your calves are very muscular. I don't want that. It's not cool.
I've had women who've done that when they've massaged me and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not weird to me.
Well, it's not weird to me either when a woman does it.
But Jessica,
I'm a woman.
Jessica,
I'm talking about the same sex. You have an issue with the same sex. That's why I'm saying I don't.
But Jessica, a woman massaging you, like a woman massaging another woman, is the beginning of so many great movies.
Yeah.
It's how it starts. When you see a guy massaging a guy,
I think you guys.
It's the start of every great 8-minute movie.
Just listen here. Do you not see where you and Kerr are, where you're meant, like, it's like the mentality behind that is kind of fucking just, I don't know. I just find it baffling to me that I didn't realize that really was like how you thought.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Interesting.
Well, hold on. I think what you're trying to do is you're trying to get into the pocket of a legitimate criticism because you tried the chauvinistic pocket. That didn't work.
Listen, you guys are seriously saying you don't want men touching you. That's fine.
Yes.
We'll leave it at that.
That's what we're saying.
All I'm saying is nobody had
that.
Listen, but I'm saying I have the right to say I think it's a little fucked up.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
that you think that way.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying is because I don't care whoever I'm paying money to
I'm
in
fine
their
with you saying
job
that.
profession. I feel like they're qualified. Doesn't matter if they're male or female. That's their qualifications. That's why I'm paying for that service, right? I don't care what it is.
100% with you.
But you don't because you already instantly have an issue.
No.
If it's a male going to wash your hair, or if it was a male giving you a massage.
Wrong. I'm not questioning their qualifications at all. Not at all. That's the thing. That's why I said it. Don't try. I respect that you say it's weird that we think that way. Fine, but don't try and put it into defining it in a way that is not true. I am not denying that.
But I can perceive it how I want to.
Well, I'm telling you, but there's a difference between being perceiving and then letting you know, because you're making a statement that's not true.
Well, I'm not making any statement. I just said I think it's odd.
You said that there are plenty of men out there qualified, and you're saying they're not. I'm saying no. Yeah. I'm saying that.
No, I said it for me. I said it for me.
Of men and women.
I said it for me, not about you and Kevin. Qualified. You didn't hear me then, because I said I feel that way. I said I feel that way. I didn't say Kerr and Kevin didn't feel that way. I didn't say that.
And I'll tell you something else.
Then, Kerr, I am not the one today. I am not the one tonight.
I will tell you this too, is that I believe that there are highly qualified male masseuses, that could probably do a fantastic and an awesome job. I'm not denying that at all.
I never said you did.
I'm saying if there is a less qualified female, I will take her.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Then I said that was odd to me.
Yeah.
I think it's a
weird sure it is.
Way of thinking of things, but I don't have that weird phobia or issue with a woman touching me. Like,
I don't think it's a phobia. I don't know if it's a phobia. Would it be a phobia?
For me, I think it borderlines on being a phobia for me.
Yeah.
I
think what phobia would that be? Men are
dirty people. Men are we're filthy fucking human beings, and at my cleanest, I'm still dirtier than anything out there. And I don't
Kevin,
want.
That will be on a poster board at the next feminist rally, because that is the most feminist thing I've ever heard you say.
Yeah.
Men are dirty, filthy animals. Do not massage me.
Yeah. We are just pigs wallowing in shit all the time, and
that is not true. You're kind of a little bit of a clean freak. Like,
I am, and even at my cleanest, I'm horribly filthy just for being a man.
I don't know. I think I'm just I've just
sins of my father.
I just don't think. I guess I just don't.
Only men scratch their ass and smell their hands. Yeah. That's when you do that kind of stuff. I don't want you rubbing my back.
Do you think it's comes from your upbringing too, though? That men have this role and women have this role. Don't quick to answer. Think it through. I'm just saying, because I know growing up too. Like, there was boxes like, this is kind of what women do and this is kind of what men do. But like, I mean, I think that's a legit question.
Okay, so
I'm answering. I don't think it's the upbringing. But I don't. As I said before, my statement of saying that I acknowledge and I know that there are highly qualified male.
I didn't say you didn't say that. Well, and I'm going to keep saying that because I never said you said that.
Well, you just said. You said, "Is it my?"
I said
hold on a second.
Hold on. Well, let me finish my sentence.
Okay. Kerr just wants to.
He
wants to yell at someone, and I think it's me.
No. Because I'm picking.
I'm not yelling
on you. Just said.
I'm not yelling at you. I'm just trying to. I'm trying to get my point across, because every time I do, you interrupt, and I have another girl from Jersey who does that. So I do appreciate you stepping in, since it's blank here. But you said, is it your upbringing because you think certain sexes have certain roles and certain jobs? And by saying that, it's alluding to and saying that the reason why I don't want a female or a male masseuse, because I feel that is a woman's job. And I do not at the least bit think that. I just, again, the answer is less complicated than what you think. I just don't want a guy touching me and rubbing my body. I just don't.
Can I say something now?
You sure can.
Since I didn't want to interrupt you like Jersey people do. You're welcome. I think it's kind of bullshit when people can't really say, I know I have prejudice and stuff, and I know from my upbringing there's certain things that I still, even though I can say I'm really open-minded, I'm not always that open-minded. And I do feel sometimes there are women and men roles. So I think, to just be realistic, it could stem from like certain things that you're just like, I don't want a guy touching me because men shouldn't be touching men.
Okay, so
I'm just
that
saying,
has nothing to do with being qualified.
I
didn't say that, and I didn't say you said that. So why do you keep saying that?
Kevin's confused.
I'm not confused. That. I don't. In my opinion, I don't think that you understand that Kerr and I just don't want dudes touching us. We just don't want guys touching us. It's not.
But it's okay.
It's not. It's not. No,
forget it. I don't even care. Let's move on from this.
It's not a prejudice. It's not how I was brought up.
I don't even care. I'm not even trying to go that avenue. No. It's like I literally don't even fucking care at this point. Let's move on from this. Fucking
I just do you not care about this point, or do you not care that a woman massages you? I'm a little confused.
No, I don't care about this whole fucking conversation. That's where I'm at.
I mean, honestly, to go back to your question,
we're moving forward. I don't want to talk about it.
I look at qualifications or boxes or job responsibilities. I don't.
I never said you did.
Well, I'm just
never once fucking said you did.
You asked me though.
I didn't ask you that. I said for me. I made that as a statement for me. I said when I go to places and pay for things, I go, I'm paying for whatever they're qualified for, male or woman. I didn't say you or Kevin had a problem with that.
Did you not ask the question of you said maybe it's your upbringing?
No, I said is it possible from your upbringing that when you were growing up that men had a certain role and women had a certain role? Those were my exact fucking words.
Yeah, and I
then
said
you
no.
took it to a whole another thing and said that I said something that I didn't really say. All I was asking was an actual genuine question because me being honest about myself, I said, I do. And you can't deny this because you have said that you have felt in certain situations that men do have a role in certain areas and women have a certain role. And I feel like men are obviously stronger than most women on this planet. You know, there are certain things that women just cannot do that men can do.
Yeah, I mean,
and vice versa. And so, but what I'm saying is that is all I was bringing up was like, is it something that's deeper seated that we don't even realize until like we think about it and we're like, oh, maybe I'm not looking at it from that perspective. That was it. It wasn't saying you feel that way or think that way.
You're very smart. You're very open-minded. And I think that there are going to be some things from our childhood or growing up that kind of is the cornerstone of some of the beliefs. But I think we're smart enough and understand, and as you get educated, how some things can change and so on and so forth. So I think, like you said, there are going to be some things in our lives that we're kind of deep-rooted in. But I also think I agree 100%, you know, and it's not being a sexist, whether it's male or female. And I'm not saying that you accuse me. I'm just saying in general to say that there are things that men are better at and there are things that women are better at. I mean, and to deny that or to act like that's not a truth, I think is not being honest with yourself in general as a whole. And I also think it's not being honest to the children of the men, the girls and boys that you're raising, that, you know, it's not, you know, you can be anything you want. You can do that. And it's like, listen, you know, yes, but as you pointed out, there are just going to be some things that, you know, I don't want to fuck, you know, just like a woman is way better at it or men is way better at it. I think when it comes to whether it's doctoring, all that shit, listen, I've dealt with some of the most brilliant female doctors, you know, on the planet that I would take them any day of the week and you know, and twice on Saturday and Sunday over a lot of the male doctors that I know. And the same with a lot of professions like that. You know, I just don't want a man rubbing me.
Well, I think I brought that up because you and Kevin both kind of said it for multiple things. And I was thinking, is it just men in general that you just don't want touching you? Because I just felt like even for like to get your hair shampooed, I thought, wow, that's interesting. I can understand a massage, but then the shampoo thing, I found. So that's why I was brought up was like, is it just men in general? Men don't want other men touching them.
No, I lie. I did actually have this is one of my old barbers I used to go to back in the day. He used to put on the old school vibrating freaking thing on his hand and rub your shoulders. Yeah, and I was good with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Like so my barber Lenny, you know, if I had longer hair and he was to shampoo me, I'd be like, no, get your wife. I don't want you shampoo. You can cut my hair and my beard all day long. You're not washing my hair.
Are you okay with a woman cutting your beard?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, only because like
I've had men and women.
Women don't have beards, so I'm just kind of like,
I
hey,
mean,
would she even really know how to?
I think
because most men have like that cut beards at least have had a beard or understand the facial
to be honest with
better.
you, I would I would love to I've never known like none of the girls at Shipwreck do beards, but I think I would be really comfortable with a woman because she would shape a beard how maybe she like other women would want it to look like. I think this would look really good.
But in all fairness, women know hair like textures really well.
Yeah,
beard texture is way different than hair
texture.
It is. So for women who don't usually have beards, but we're not saying that women don't because there are some. But I mean,
but Lenny and Jared, they never want to touch my beard. Like I'll be like, hey, they do great jobs. I'm like, hey, can we take it a little shorter? Like, no, the thing is, it's too nice. Let's not take anything off at all. Let's just trim it up a little bit. So they're real apprehensive about going.
I remember when you did get it cut kind of really short, and Kevin kept going. He's like, it's just. When I went to pull it down, it ended too short. He was like, "This is not okay."
But falling off the edge of the earth.
But I feel like me personally, like if I was a dude and I wanted to get my beard trimmed, I don't know that I would want to go to a woman.
Yeah,
because I would want a person who understands beards, just like I would go to someone who understands hair better than. I don't know.
Kevin was right though about one thing. It is very true because my beard was starting to get a little bit not like yours, but it was starting to get longer, and I wanted to keep it longer here because I liked the way it looked. But it was just when I grow a beard, it's like it doesn't get lice like Kevin. It just keeps going out.
But your beard grows fast,
right? So when I went to the girl who does Jennifer's hair, and she does mine, and she does a great job. I told her, like, here's what I want. She freaking shaved, tapered, and sculpted fucking perfect. And she said, that looks good. And that's
interesting.
For me, like she says, that looks good. And I think, I can picture a guy like trimming it up and going, yeah, that looks cool. And I'm like, yeah, to a guy, I look like
Satan. Yeah. It's like when I have longer hair and then Brian's sister is a stylist. So I went to her every 3 weeks or so. And then the same thing. I sat down. She's like, what are we going to do? I go, just make it look clean. Yeah. And then sometimes she'd do something different. She goes, I think this looks really good.
Yeah.
So we'll do that. So I was just trust their opinion.
I think because like, I'm not a hairstylist that would be like, just even me thinking about like trimming someone's hair is one thing, but trimming someone's beard for me would be like
kind of
terrifying. It would be terrifying. Like I'm going to fuck up their face. That's part of their face.
You got to be, I'll tell you what, haircuts are haircuts, right? Yeah. But I think when you get into a beard like Kevin's, and you're thinning and trimming, you got to freaking have some balls and confidence to be able to do that, because one false move and you have freaking, Kevin from Cigarprop now looks like freaking Joseph from, the Bible, because it's nice and short here. And I just think it's also their experience in what they do and how they do it. And that's why, I've had.
Well, there are guys who are really into manscaping. So like they take that, like my brother-in-law, like he's a hairstylist. That's what he does for a living.
Okay, and, you know what manscaping is though, right?
Well, but like metro, like sexual, where they do their eyebrows, they all that stuff.
When they line up around the forehead with the razor.
So, when I think of manscaping, I'm thinking
not just but it's like the metrosexual, like where they basically do what like women do, but for men. And he's really into that. I mean, he wants to look good all the time, and he's very well put together. It does take probably a lot of work, but he has a beard and he keeps,
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to be a stylist like him and have a shaggy beard and scruffy hair. But, what do you know about hair? Look at yourself.
But what I'm saying is, is that I feel like men like him, like he kind of walks like a fine line. Like he understands, I think, like that whole metrosexual like look, which some men, like you said, just don't give a fuck. like you'll walk around with grease underneath your nails. That Mike will never have that.
Yeah.
He would go get a pedicure if there was like dirt he couldn't get. But that's what I'm saying. That's the difference between, and
I remember when
Mike is our age. He's like a year older than us. He's like 46.
When I was working all the time, like I said, now my fingernails are clean and everything else, but they would be dirty. I mean, I'd scrub them the best I can. But Kerr, you can, if I'm going back to work tomorrow, I'm not scrubbing them every single day. And then I always take pictures and post the cigars online. And other men would, they hundreds and hundreds of comments over, hundreds of photos. It's like, those are working man hand right there, and people liked that. Other guys like that. Like that's a guy that I can trust. Those are working man's hands. And
I don't even have words for what Kevin just said.
Yeah, I love it.
So I can never be.
My cousin likes to formulate. He likes to really form his eyebrows. I got trustworthy hands.
I got trustworthy hands.
Trustworthy hands.
So I don't think I could ever be like that. The perfect. Like, look at Kevin's beard, all perfectly lasered, and his clean hands.
Oh my god, that's
listen,
so funny.
I know guys like that. It's like they take longer in the bathroom than girls, and they want to look perfect. They want to look great. They make sure this is done. They smell. Guys that literally probably could bend over, pick something up, freaking jump up in the air and do a jumping jack, and their shirt never comes out.
Yeah,
it always stays perfectly tucked. Everything's perfect. Me, I sneeze, and my
you're disheveled.
I'm disheveled. So
I look like Pigpen.
I look like a walking unmade bed. Just at the drop of a hat, and it's like this is just I can't work. Today I saw Joe. We got lunch, and I got Joe the Tropical Grill has this barbecue something sandwich. It's all freaking messy and shit, and he has this sandwich and he's got this white polo shirt on. I'm looking at him, I'm just going, dude, you realize just me ordering that on the menu, I would already have a spot right here.
Before it came.
Just going, I like to have the sloppy barbecue shirt. The chicken sandwich with the barbecue dripping all over it. Yep, I like to have that one. I already got a stain on my shirt. Jen, do you have a Clorox wipe?
Hey, I noticed your barbecue place has T-shirts. I'd like that black one. Because I'm about to fuck this one up.
It's exactly. And like, I've never been I went to college, and with when I was in college, my buddies, and they were just like, before we go out, they were in there getting all ready. And I'm just like, dude, this is as good as it gets.
Oh yeah, I throw a hat on, a T-shirt. I'm like, all right.
I'll
spray some Axe body spray on like I'm 12, and I'm like, all right, I'm good.
If I spend that much time on my looks, it won't last long. I guarantee you. And it's just wasting time and effort because I realize I'll walk out of the bathroom, take a picture of me because that is at that moment it's just when shit just falls apart because it's not worth it for me.
And I get it. And for some, it is. It's just a lifestyle for them, and it's just how they, they feel good doing it. I guess
that's Ron Real from Ron Real.
Well, it's
TV.
also Ronnie. From Secreto, he goes and gets his pedicures and.
Oh, that's Ron's got hundreds of colognes, and he's got like shaving videos now, and he's always prim and proper, and he's a firefighter. So
but if it makes you feel good. Fine, so be it.
It's not a criticism. I just
he looks good. Like I could never look like that. Well, I mean, he's black too, so I mean, I'll never look like that.
You could if you wanted to invest money and time, which is what most men don't want to do. But I will say though, like there's certain things that these guys do that when they do all of their metrosexual that I don't even do as a woman. I'm like, that's too much work. Oh, you got time for that.
I mean, I laugh because Joseph is really like, he's not that extreme, but he does take time getting ready, make sure everything matches and looks good, smells good, his hair is right every single time. It's like, hey, Joe, I need you to help me carry that dresser.
Yeah.
Joe, I asked you to carry your dresser. Why are you fixing your hair?
Yeah.
I bet you though, when you were in your teens and 20s, you probably did take time, You just don't really think
No,
back
I
on
remember.
it.
I do.
I don't know. 'Cause I mean, my brother used to. Like, I remember him always putting, because he's colorblind too.
I'm
he
going
used
to
to ask us to be matched.
take you down Kerr memory lane when I was that age. Okay, first of all, when I was in middle school, I have colics in my hair, right? Calyx, whatever you want to call them.
Calyx, yeah.
Right. So I just comb my hair, my hair straight forward, and I looked like I had a square head. I looked like Frankenstein. So I did, and I used to get picked on, and I was bullied. They'd call me Frankenstein, right? And then I had to beat up Mikey Clay in 7th grade in the middle of class, and then I never got picked on again, right? So my aunt, my mom's sister, who was a hairstylist, kind of did this perm, and it allowed me to kind of comb my hair. And I realized that at that point, I would part it in the middle, and it was like, one side would look good, the other one looked like, fucking, because of the freaking cow.
But like flock of seagulls.
Yeah, it was like I looked like Two-Face from Batman, right? But I would comb my hair, and I'd have to take time to train it, so it would do what it did. And then I just kind of got to the point when I got into high school, I just didn't care. I get up in the morning, I get ready for school. Of course, you wanted to make sure you look good, so you had things matching. You take a shower, but at that point, I realized my options for hairstyle are limited because of this fucking head and these 3 calyx fucking one here, and one back here. So I was just like, keep my hair short, or if it was a little bit longer, back then we had mullets and shit. So I really didn't put that much effort into the look and the smell. I went through a phase because a buddy of mine who was always like, he was the quarterback. He was always Mr. Handsome and always looked fucking perfect. Everything looked perfect. And then I realized after a while, I'm like, I can't do that. I just can't. I can't. I'll take a shower. I'll put on my clothing, and then I'll go out. And I realized 2 things. One, as I pointed out earlier, I'm messy. As soon as I eat, something's going to get on my shirt. The other thing is, if I look at a picture of the sun, or if I look at a picture of a hot place, I will sweat. I sweat. So I realize that I'm going to be drenched if we go out, if it's outside or whatever. So I realize that whatever work is done here is quickly ruined by my freaking aggressive sweat glands and my messiness. So I'm standing there messy as I got barbecue sauce on my shirt, and I got pits down to my freaking to my hips, and I got sweat dripping off my face, and that was how most of my college nights were.
Yeah, I don't sweat. Like I said, at work I wear a headband because my head will get sweaty at work a little bit. But I've got the guy at work, Eric. Like he'll clock in at like 8:00, and like you look over 8:05, and he's changing the shirt. He's wringing out his shirt. It'll be 100 degrees in the shop. But
do you think it's also because he doesn't stay hydrated like you do? Like you drink a lot of water.
I don't know.
Don't you drink soda and stuff?
Yeah, they drink a lot of
soda. Water's got to go somewhere. It comes out of your pores. I got to rehydrate.
Yeah, but I mean, when you drink a lot of sodas and stuff, doesn't that make you more sweaty or something? I don't know.
I don't know, but they always say, they're like, "How are you not sweating?" I'm like, "Yeah, my shirt perfectly dry like all the time. Like I don't sweat."
That's weird.
If we
that might be a problem. You might want to go get that.
When we moved, when we moved and we spent the day moving, I changed 3 times.
Yeah.
I mean, and I probably could have changed the 4th. You don't get sweaty armpits.
No, I don't sweat.
Because I had my one friend, Ginny, her daughter, ended up having like where she didn't sweat. Like there was like gland issues. She had to get shots and stuff. I mean, she could sweat because it's actually dangerous.
Yeah, I will perspire.
Oh, but you're talking about like that dripping.
Oh yeah, like Eric could he could just stand here like this, and you could watch it.
I thought you meant like you're just dry,
dripping off of him. Like you will look at me, and I will be glistening, but there'd be no sweat. Like my shirt won't drip. My shirt be perfectly
it's still
dry.
Sweat. It's just not dripping sweat.
Oh, I
like raining sweat.
I mean, when I played basketball. And if I was like, I played center when I would post up, you could probably stock trout where I was standing.
Yeah.
It was, that's just me. And what's funny is Wyatt, my son, he sweats bad. My brother did. My nephew, Briar, my brother's son, he's the same way. Like if he said, "Hey, come run on over here," he'd run over to you. He'd freaking be like, dropped. I mean, sweat dripping off of him.
It's like when they shake, like a dog shakes, like the sweat just goes.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same way. I have so many hats that I actually stopped. If I like was going to go move right now, if I had to go outside to do some work, I'd take this hat off, and I have a couple of hats that I wear because they have the big salt band around here.
Oh yeah.
Because I just nonstop.
I can't wear. I much prefer sweatbands outside. That's what I wear at work. Is just a sweatband. You know, like I said, I'm not. I don't know. I just can't wear a hat when it's all hot and sweaty.
It's weird. I don't get super sweaty either, but like I'll get like in my hair. Like if I am outside and like I have a ponytail and I take it down, it's damp from like being sweaty, but never dripping sweat. Hardly ever don't drip sweat.
I'm not looking forward to going back to work on Tuesday. I mean, I was outside today for probably 15 minutes just raking a little bit, you know, like didn't require any just standing in one spot raking.
My body
gets it's fucking hot out here.
Gets red. Like I get like blotchy, like when I'm like hot, but I don't sweat. Like I'll get like shiny, but I don't like drip any sweat. Like I've never had like sweat. Like I've seen people like it just drips from the corner of their head, and I'm like, whoa, like that's like a tear coming out of your hair.
Oh yeah, I've seen that photo before. Yeah,
that dark is not the jersey.
Yeah, I can tell that. That's a lot of moisture.
And I'm standing next to the starting quarterback who freaking played the full game too, and he's not sweaty at all. And I mean, it was just. I mean, that was just how it. I just like it's a hereditary thing too. Like I said, I think my dad's also like that. He sweats pretty bad as well. But man, me and my brother, it's nasty. It just is. And whether I work outside or we're moving shit or whatever the case may be, I always make sure I have a backpack filled with extra clothing.
Yeah. Well, that's like when I had hired this one assistant manager, Beth. Oh my God. Anytime we did like an overnight thing or like we're doing something outside, she had to constantly change her work shirt. And I was like, I mean, she would be drenched. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's me and my buddy right before our 20th high school reunion. We actually did one of our guys we go to high school with. He's got a son who has Duchenne's, and we did a 5K run. That was him after a 5K run. And this is Scott. He's another one of those guys who literally could probably, he probably fell down 50 hills and he looks so freaking polished. He's a golf pro. He always looked good, always looks polished, always looks clean. And I'm standing next to him. I just ran the same race he did. And I looked like I was standing in front of a freaking fire hydrant that they opened up.
What is Duchenne's? I've heard that term before. I don't know what that.
I believe I'd have to look it up, but it's been a while. But I believe it is a rare disorder. I want to say it's part of multiple sclerosis, and I may be wrong, but it is a rare genetic disease.
Does it attack the like muscles?
I think I'm very bad at this right now. Actually, muscular dystrophy. That's what it is. So it is.
Okay.
It's a rare subgroup of muscular dystrophy. So yeah.
And ever since they started stopped doing the telethons, you don't hear too much about muscular dystrophy anymore. I remember growing up, like that's all. They had the was it Jerry Lewis every year. Now it's always for muscular dystrophy.
Yep.
And like
I think that I mean all I know is that I know more obviously adults that have MS than I do kids.
No, that's multiple sclerosis.
That was me. I screwed up. I thought it was muscular dystrophy. Not
muscular dystrophy. Yeah, you don't hear about that.
Yeah, I remember growing up, like that's all we heard. Because of Jerry Lewis. Always putting it out there. He stopped doing it, and now it's like, they solved it. They cured it. We're good. We're good. We don't have to worry about that anymore. You know,
No, it was because everybody, like you said, we were growing up. It was always like Jerry Lewis. Yeah, he's the muscular dystrophy.
Yeah, we did it in school because we always wanted to send the donations each year.
But you also used to hear a lot about cystic fibrosis too, and you don't hear a ton of stuff about CF anymore either.
You know, I picked up a stack of Popular Mechanics, probably like a 2-foot stack from the late 70s going up to like the mid 80s or so, or early 80s. And it's funny, like every other ad in Popular Mechanics was for jock itch.
Oh,
like
really?
Every one. And I'm like, what was that all about? God,
that's that
brutal.
sweatiness.
Yeah,
sweat.
Yeah, all that sweating and
the material.
not as much manscaping. I don't, but yeah, every article or every advertisement was for I forget what the product was, but it was jock itch.
Yeah, jock itch. It was what was that?
What was
there you go.
Destin? Was it Destin? Or I always want to say Tenactin, but I think that's for athlete's foot.
Tough actin Tenactin.
Tenactin.
That was
the
foot. Joe Namath. He always promoted. It wasn't Ben Gay, but I think it was the other one.
I'm just going to put this out there. Is this all leading into sports talk? Because I told you the moment we go into sports talk, I'm out the bucket door.
Actually, this is all leading to the reasons why we don't want guys rubbing our bodies.
Yeah,
I was going to say that is because all men are dirty.
Yeah.
Lotrimin.
Lotrimin. I remember that.
Has that been around for a long time? I thought.
I'll tell you what. You know what my buddies turned me on to when I was when we were in school, in college, and with all the practicing all the time, and again all the sweatiness.
I don't want to interrupt. Tenactin was the one.
Was it Tenactin?
Yeah, tough actin Tenactin was jock itch.
Okay, I can't remember with that. I think Destin might have been the foot stuff, but my buddies used to use a lot of Gold Bond powder, medicated powder, and when they introduced me to that, I was like, this stuff is like fucking heaven. It is.
Yeah.
And then now I actually still have some of the lotion too.
Yeah.
Because that's even better. But when we used to get, it wasn't jock itch. It was always just chafing from sweating and stuff. And we used to have this tub in the training room, and it was it was butt paste basically. It was really thick, freaking gooey Vaseline is basically what it was. And all you would do is just take a big slab and just put it on either side of your thighs. And it was like within a day, everything was gone. Yeah, it was like a miracle.
It's crazy because when we moved here, my dad started working with my uncle because my, family owns a landscaping company. And then when they sold it in New Jersey, my dad moved here. My uncle had started another one, so they worked together. Then my brother came down and he started working with them. But Florida weather is obviously different than being up north. You also have more seasons. Here you have or 2 seasons. So my dad and brother kept complaining about being like it was bad or getting these like weird, rashes from sweating so much. And like my uncle's like butt paste. That's what you need to buy. It literally like. Every guy I've ever talked to that uses it says it is like a miracle.
I use Aquaphor. Yeah. If I get any chafing like in the middle of summer. Like same thing. I use it proactively. Like in the morning. Just so you get as a mechanic, I know lubricants. But you got to remember these are two. We literally just moved here. We don't know anything. But my uncle had been here for quite a few years at this point, and he was like, butt paste.
Yeah, and then
you work outside, that's what you need.
And during camp, then after the first year, realizing, for some reason in Dover, Delaware in the summer was just like so fucking hot and humid. It was like
sun.
It was horrible. And like you said earlier, I'd proactively use it and put it on, because most guys after the morning, workout, they could hang their stuff in the lockers and then come back for the afternoon and their shit was either dry or really wasn't that wet, where I'd have to put mine outside for the sun to dry. Yeah, it was that bad.
Kerr's running his drawers up the flagpole so he can get, you know.
He's like, come on, let the air.
That's how wet they were. But then, I mean, it was like, you got to slap on some butt paste proactively because, like Kevin said, just the understanding, tight freaking pants and freaking thighs moving together. It's like
they make this stuff now for people who are who sweat a lot. It's some kind of lotion. I'll see if I can find the link to it.
In order to carry a 55-gallon drum,
and
a paint sprayer.
But they,
like you do a spray tan.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Kerr's got a booth of this.
They say it actually works. It helps. It like doesn't obviously make you stop sweating, but it helps control like the perspiration.
Oh, speaking of that, Kerr, one thing Jessica and I saw, I think it was on TikTok. I showed it to you a couple weeks ago, a month ago, and I just been seeing it more and more in like these high-end bathrooms people are putting in the house. The full body air dryers, like the full body Dysons. Oh. So you step out of a shower and to be more environmentally conscious, so you're not using a towel and having to wash it. You get into this electric machine that blows you dry. You just
use electricity
and using electricity powered by a coal power plant, whatever,
Exactly.
Hey, it could be solar.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of that.
Oh, yeah. That's why I brought it up.
Oh, here, yeah. So we got all of our neighbors. Like everybody in the neighborhood's getting new roofs put on.
Right.
I think it's because everything was built around the same time.
So our neighbor behind us got solar put on, and then our neighbor Jim, 2 houses down, he's getting it put on. He's getting ready to do his roof and put solar on. So he calls me, "Hey, I see you doing the your roof. You think about solar?" And I go, "It's a scam." I go, "You can't pay for it. I looked at it. You pay out of pocket. It's an 18-year payoff. Whatever." So he sent his guy down here. His solar guy. Well, one of those things like, hey, get your neighbors to do it. We'll get you back a kickback of $1,000. I don't know if that's the case, but Jim was telling me about it. So they got his roof replaced under insurance, which God now who knows what every time you call your insurance company, your rates are going to go up. Mm-hmm. So the company is paying his deductible for the roof. He actually had a big oak tree in his yard. It did get struck by lightning. They trimmed it back, but it was eventually going to fuck something up. So the company actually paid to have the oak tree removed.
Wow.
And they're going to put that. And
when they paid someone, it was a bunch of guys
like they put like on Craigslist. Hey,
it was sketchy. The people that were taking the fucking tree down, trust me.
So
not professional.
So all the solar is free. They're putting it on. They're doing all this work at no charge. Nothing out of Jim's pocket. He's not writing a check to anybody. So then they take your what you pay in electric for we have FPL, Florida Power and Light. Mm-hmm. So whatever it is, you pay $200 a month for electric. You're going to put solar, all this for free. We're only going to charge you $100 a month. Is basically what we're going to charge you, 100, whatever it is. And I go, oh, I mean, how long are you paying them for that? Well, 30 years. 30 years. And you're saying that the solar panel was free, you said? You go, what's $100 a month, 12 months a year for 30 fucking years? What is that? That's $1,200 times 30 years, $36,000. I looked at solar to pay for it out of my pocket was somewhere between 14 to 16,000, something like that.
Yeah, you're not paying a monthly bill.
Yeah, and then the return on the investment on that was 18 years. So I'm like, well, I can't justify that.
No, right.
I can't justify getting my investment back in 18 years, and in hoping in 18 years nothing ever happened that required me to put one more dime back into those panels.
But also you also still are paying an electric bill.
On
top of that.
Where's the free?
It's not even about the free. Where is the savings?
Yeah, you're paying $36,000 for. I mean, on the company, they're taking a long-term investment. Whatever it is.
They're catching you in the same moment, like when they buy a car and they want their car payment a certain amount. And they're not buying the car. They're buying the car payment.
Yeah.
Right. So they're not paying for the solar panels. They're paying for the reduced freaking monthly amount and say, hey, if I'm cutting my electric bill in half, this is fucking great. Well, it's unless the sun is sending a bill to these people and then they are the ones who are collecting, it should be kind of not a bill at all if it's solar.
Well, then you should be paying for the solar panels, but no more electricity.
And they're
right?
not, and
like
they're not,
that should be from the solar panels collecting it. There needs to be a way that
and they're not putting
electric
and they're not putting a power wall in.
No,
so they're not putting a battery bank. So you're still using the electricity at night. So so he's probably like, oh, I got my electric bill. It's $25 a month. The company like, oh, see what your savings is. Yes, but that's not what I'm paying for.
Right.
I'm paying. You told me I'm paying you, and that's it. So. So some people are probably going to get
it's still $125. It's still less than $200.
And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying solar is bad. I'm saying it's not where it needs to be for the masses to benefit.
It's a long-term investment,
right? From solar, though, and also here's the thing: like Kevin said, the way he watched them install it. They're going to have issues
on the roof right behind us. They just put a brand new roof on. And there's nothing wrong with kids. Like there's probably 3 kids up. I call them kids. They look like kids in like 25, maybe 20 to 25 years old. 3 young gentlemen, and one guy like marked off, like the grid pattern where they're going to go. And another guy came behind them and set like this bracket on the roof, to where the panels would eventually attach. And this third kid came along with a drill and a screw about this big, and just ran it straight through the bracket. Straight into the roof. No, there was no
that
sealant.
Won't leak.
No, Jim had mentioned it. He goes, they're gonna guarantee my roof for like 20 years. I'm like, well, that's all well and good, yeah, but I'm not buying it because we get these people. I don't know if you get them. Like at least once a week, someone's knocking on my door. Can we talk to you about solar?
We used to get that all the time in our old neighborhood. And I would be like, don't own the house. You have to talk to the people we rent. Have a great day.
Oh, that's what I should say.
And now if someone comes to this house and says it, I'm going to say the exact same fucking thing. Because I've reviewed a lot of the same assessments that are done when it comes to electric cars. And when does an electric car really when is it a benefit and how does it benefit the environment versus either a hybrid or a gas car? And I've seen those statistics and like you said, someone will really map out and factor in everything that is needed to produce that vehicle. And then how much do you pay in the electric stuff and how much are you paying for the car in gas and everything else? And it's like, the benefit is so far downstream it's bullshit.
Yeah, the one guy from I think it's Car and Driver, one of the car magazines I just reading the other day. He was testing the new Hummer. They gave him one, and he decided to drive cross country because probably works for the magazine. It's free, and almost every single one of his fill ups, because it was 100% electric, was $100. $100 to fill because the battery on that car was so big. And then if you found like the charger
how far did he go though? Like how
they're only 400, 400 miles. But and then he could top it off. He said for a lot less. But on one, he was down to like 20%. And he was trying to get up to 100%. So they have like the different megawatts and like charging rates. And I really don't know a whole lot about all that.
Here's the other thing though. Why would you have different charging rates?
Well,
charging should be charging.
No, it charges at different speeds.
Yeah.
So you can.
So it's no different than having regular.
So
gas.
All batteries want to be charged easily. Like my phone will charge up to from 0 to 85% in 20 minutes. But to go from 85 to 100 could take another hour.
Okay,
because
gotcha.
to cram that much more electricity, then your charging speeds have to be exponentially greater.
I see where Kerr is saying.
But yeah. So where's the savings? And you've seen the open pit mines, Kerr, where they're getting nickel and lithium and all that, just raping the environment.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the amount of pollution that is given off in order to make that car that is supposed to be environmentally safe And that's why when you see these politicians, that guy Joe Manchin in West Virginia, well, then everyone's just going to get an electric car. I'm sitting there thinking, are you like seriously? You just think that electric cars are just shit out, or just freaking created, and it doesn't. It's not going to impact the environment. What it takes in order to get the parts, like you said, to get all of the materials that are necessary to create that vehicle, and then all of the work that needs to be done within that particular factory to create that vehicle, for that vehicle to be freaking actually put out, and then it's put on a truck and it's shipped, or a boat, or wherever the fuck it's done. And I just it really hasn't. I get the concept, I get the idea, and I know a lot of people who have, like Daryl's got a hybrid Honda, and it's like amazing the mileage that he gets, and I get all that.
Yeah,
but
I do understand
when you start kind of weaving in the overall benefit, it's about as freaking legit as a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to get a like the Silverado, not the hybrid, but the full electric. I mean, I think it's an awesome truck. I mean, but to only go a couple hundred miles, that range anxiety is still there.
Yeah. Because like you said, and then the cost of it, the time frame it takes to do it, the lines, and it just I think it's in a lot of cases, in a lot of cases, and a lot of scenarios, it just reminds me of like a really poor pyramid scheme.
Yeah, it's getting better, and I know it's getting better. I know we have to do baby steps, and then each year the batteries are getting better and better. We're trying to wean ourselves off lithium and going to cobalt instead, which is a more abundant. I don't know whatever, but
let's go to the moon.
So I think solar is good for certain businesses and certain like agricultural type of things and stuff. And I know that for all of its like advantages, like there's a lot of people who do solar who kind of live off the grid a little bit. That's
it is for what Jim has. Jim has a 975 square foot house. Wow. So it for as in the benefit for the environment, solar roofing. That's definitely a lot better than an electric car.
Right.
But I look at it from the return on the investment. Yeah, I should be looking at it as in it's better for the environment, but I can't justify.
No, because what they're doing
loving the environment.
Then the government should subsidize and or give you major breaks.
What I'm talking
about.
If
they are trying to get you to be and see, Kevin, the way you're looking at it, really, it's really easy for a politician that has money, who gets paid by freaking us, the taxpayers.
But do these politicians have solar?
And are they doing their water? And as soon as they're either if they're voted out or if they freaking quit, they have benefits for the rest of their lives. They get a paycheck for the rest of their lives. It's really easy, and when they do spend money, they're spending other people's money.
Yeah,
it's really easy for them to sit there and say, "Well, why don't you just? What we need to do is this." And then we have average fucking American people like us who say, yeah, I get it. I want to play my role in improving, the environment, but it's a $15,000 investment and I'm not going to see the return or the benefit for 18 years. So how do you, the government, how are you going to help me make it affordable and actually beneficial? Because there has to be a give and take with that. You just can't expect us to be environmentally conscious all the time when you got some fossil fuel skeletons in your closets there, guys.
Right. But didn't we also look that the electric company gets so much from your solar, right?
Well, and there's a big problem, and Florida Power and Light is just like all these other companies. I get, I look at my electric bill each month. I get charged, let's say 25% or 25 cents per kilowatt. I don't know what it is. It's just something like that. So if my solar is actually generating excess electricity, it can actually go back into the grid, but they only pay 2 cents a kilowatt for you to sell it back to them. And I'm like, well, where's the, like you said, where's the benefit there? Yeah. So give me the full amount. Give me the 25 25 cents that you're charging me,
or put it as a credit towards whatever their electric that
because
using.
you're essentially, I'm giving you free. You're not having to burn your power plants. You're not having to do all that. But that's not the case.
Where you're helping them run more efficient, which is going to help the environment, et cetera, et cetera. But
and they're making money off of you,
right? And it should be
the craziest thing.
You should not be getting a small percentage of what they're charging you. You should, if anything, if they're charging you 25 cents, then they should maybe buy it back at 20 cents. Or what Jessica said, which makes the best sense, is
put it as a credit. We're talking about pennies basically, right?
But that
like your amount impact. Is
But that has the same impact as overpaying your bill. If your bill's $50 and you pay $55, you should get a $5 credit on your next bill.
Right.
If fucking your solar panels are gathering that much freaking energy, electricity, that you're giving back electricity to the freaking company, then you should get that freaking as credit on your next bill.
Or there should be a government, a kickback, say, for, FPL should give me the 25 cents per kilowatt that they're charging me, that I'm putting back into the grid. And the government should say, like, okay, we're going to match that, on a tax credit. We're not going to write you a check, but so you put $1,000 back into the grid next year. That's tax deductible.
Well, exactly.
We're going to give you
taxes. Yeah.
Right. But, or just say like monthly, say you have given back, I don't know, just say $50, right? Like you were able to give $50 back in money, like we're talking about dollars here. That $50 should technically be a credit, or you get paid that from the electric company.
And I don't know how that works, because I don't know anybody that does that, so I don't know if it is a credit if you get a check. But I'm saying that the government should come in, like, we're going to go ahead and give you that. We're going to give you that tax break. It's going to be, we're going to get dollar for dollar. You're going to get a tax credit. Then that maybe takes that 18 years. We'll call it 15 years. Maybe that brings that down to 7, maybe 10. That's more doable. But that's a little bit more doable.
But I also said to Kevin, like, his daughter and boyfriend just bought their first home. Mm-hmm. She's 26 years old. This would be something that would be a good investment for them, like, if it takes that long, because they're young and this is a new home that they could put the solar on. For us,
no, I agree with
you. FYI, our neighbor Jim's 85 years old,
right? He's gonna die. No offense, Jim, if you're watching this. But like our other neighbors too, they're not as old.
When I'm 101, I'm gonna break even.
I just find that. I also find that, like, when the person goes to buy that house, like, do you have to use the solar? Like,
there's so many more questions on top of that. Like
it's like we bought our house. There's 2 DirecTV satellites. Do I have to? I don't have to use DirecTV. Do I have to use these satellites?
Well, your neighbor still owes us on those satellites. So it's like,
right. How does that work?
How does that? So I don't know.
Yeah, when you buy the house, are you now buying the solar panel?
And do you take over payments, or when you sell the home, do you have to pay off that freaking $100
you have
a
to
month?
Pay off what
and then pay them off. It's kind of interesting you say that, because I think younger, yes, it makes sense. But if you're going to do it, like Kevin said, do it the right way, where you do have a power bank, you do have a battery that can store, and you can use it in the evenings instead of just having the solar panels and then you run off electricity in the evenings.
Well,
then it makes sense.
Right. Kevin was telling me too, because I noticed the neighbors down the road, ever since I lived here, had solar panels. But Kevin was like pointing it out to me the other day that those are for the water heater.
They have the old school one, Kerr, like when we were younger, they actually have the pipes. So it was a solar panels only for the water heater.
Right.
So
those panels are huge.
They're huge. And they're old. You remember what those looked like, Kerr?
They're old. Technology is so much better. And what's funny, Kevin, is we hear those people come and knock at the door. In our old neighborhood, I would start seeing more and more solar panels popping up on people's roofs.
Yeah.
And Jen and I talked about it, and I said, listen, first of all, I don't know enough about solar panels to even consider it. I'd have to hear what someone has to say. And the one thing I've said that we brought up today that I've said from the beginning, and it's very true, is if this starts getting into a situation where the government is pushing everything from electric cars to solar panels to freaking drinking, paper straws or what have you.
Yeah.
But if you're going to be in a situation where you are money out of pocket in order to improve or in order to change the way that whatever system it is in your home working, that is a benefit to the environment, there needs to be some sort of tax break. There has to be some sort of write-off. There has to be something that is legit. And I have not really heard, and again, I don't know enough about it, but I've never read, seen, or heard anything that is really substantial in my mind that says, you know what, if I get freaking, like you said, if I pay 15 grand for solar panels on my home, that 15 grand should be a tax write-off.
Right. But I think it's more than that too, though, right? So like we're talking about doing things that are going to benefit all of us, right? But that is not cheap. Most people are literally living paycheck to paycheck, right? They have groceries, they have other bills, they have daycare. I mean, so even if you wanted to do something like that, make it more affordable where it makes sense and then more people could do it, and that benefits more people to be able to benefit from. But it's no different than like just even trying to find like American made items, right? That's always more expensive than if you were to buy something from overseas.
Oh, it's eating healthy. Eating healthy is more expensive.
Yeah.
Right. So
anything the way it should be is always going to be more expensive.
Right.
It's more time consuming. Listen, if Jen goes out and if she wants to make, a homemade meal or whatever the hell it is, it's going to cost X amount. But if I walk in there and there's a freaking frozen tray of chicken parm, $7, that's easier. That's cheap.
Yeah. You're making chicken parm for 40. You're buying it pre-made for $7.
I mean, even just pre-making meals, it can be expensive because of the cost of everything going up too. And that's the other thing. You want to be conscious, you want to make better choices, but everything has gone up. You have to pick and choose what you need to function as a family, right? Mm-hmm. If you're just one person, that might be, that's all fine and dandy. Good for you to be one person. You only have to think of yourself. But when you have a family you have to think of, then you got to be like, that shit's not important, but this is important. Like, this is what we need.
Yeah.
The family and 8 deer out back. We got to feed them.
Yeah, you got to feed them.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the one thing they did do with this last climate bill or whatever it is they wanted to call it, they did reinstate the electric car credit that went away. Because before it was after the manufacturer produced 200,000 cars, electric cars, the credits went away. So now they've lifted that cap. So there is like a $7,500. I think it's 70. I think it went back to 7,500. I'm not 100% sure, but what the final number is. So yeah. So now, you're buying a $55,000 car. Yeah, you get $7,500 tax credit. Right. People they confuse a credit with money back.
Yeah,
it's the same. Like you hear it all the time, Kerr. Oh, you're smoking your own cigars. You just write those off. Yeah. Like the Seinfeld. What's a write-off?
You write it off.
You just write it off.
They just write it off, Jerry.
They just write it off. It's just people think, oh, you just get all that. I wrote off $1. Yeah. The government sends me $1 back. No, I wrote it off and I get a nickel back. So that's what a write-off is.
Yeah, but it's honestly, there should be definitely not trying to say like people who rent or don't own things shouldn't benefit, but this should help them be able to benefit when they're ready to. There needs to be more tax breaks for people, for home improvements, for all kinds of stuff. There just isn't. It just isn't enough incentive for anybody to go out and do better because it's too goddamn expensive.
It's too expensive. And I think when it comes to tax breaks and tax loopholes, I think the average person is trying to do their own taxes. They don't know it. They're not someone who's going to take the time to look at tax codes, and they don't have the money to get an accountant. And H&R Block is not going to be sitting there freaking, going, hey, do you know if you do this? So
yeah,
it's, I I look at like tax codes, right, and just the tax laws. It reminds me of someone a long time ago. This is when I first started working. We were talking. He said, if someone's trying to explain to you like your bonus, if someone's explaining to you your bonus, if it's too complicated to understand, you should be skeptical because it should be very easy to understand. And I feel the same way when it comes to taxes. It should be very, very simple. It should be very straightforward.
Yeah, it's not.
Not 99% of every technician that works in my company cannot tell you how our pay structure works. So
Wait,
it's
tried explaining it. I just was like, say it's Thursday. You know you're getting paid tomorrow. You have no idea. Your paycheck each week is always a surprise. Like for you to figure out what your paycheck is going to be is almost impossible.
How come?
We have things like double bogeys and we have different terms. Oh, that's
not okay though. It should be any person looking on their pay stub or on the website for your pay. You should always pretty much be around the same amount.
No, and then even when you get your paycheck, they don't break it down. Like it's like
How
okay,
is that legal?
so I get a $2,000 paycheck each week. Like we don't know how the company came across that number.
How is that legal?
It's legal because at one time somewhere is the structure of how you're paid, but it varies so greatly. It's almost.
No,
I remember you telling me that.
I almost feel like you can legitly question that, and you'd be in your right to say
so
that is shady as fuck.
Hard to figure because we don't get paid flat rate like most mechanics do. We get paid an hourly plus commission based on the work that we do, which I prefer over a flat rate system because I make more than most flat rate mechanics.
But you have to document your commission, right? That goes in electronically. Like,
well, the computer does it for you,
right? It knows, right? You can't tell me they can't. That can't be.
I can look each day. You know, like how much. So I can look at how much I made each day. Which I get paid for, but I don't get paid for that whole amount because there are things that we don't get paid for. They get put into that category. They get taken off later.
But can't they pull like a report like at the end of the week? Can't they freaking put off a report that says Kevin Shahan worked these many hours, so here's what you get flat rate. Here is the commissionable work that you've done is here. Here's the percentage of commission you get. Here's your pay.
So how do you know if they're not clocking you out for lunches and stuff?
But there are things that are in that commission that commission report that we actually don't get paid for. They just automatically get put into that.
Well, that's why I said the commissionable amount.
Oh yeah, yeah.
If you do a $700 transmission job, and $300 of it is not commissionable because they're not going to pay you for seals and bolts and whatever else they pay you on, then they should be able to disseminate between what is commissionable and what is not because they have to do that to pay you.
Yeah,
so you want to report at the end of the week.
So I'm one of the few people in the company. I'm in that 1% that give me a half an hour. It 30 to 40 minutes. I can figure out within about $10 what my paycheck is going to be. That
you want to know why? Because you have dirty, trustworthy hands.
Yeah. So I can figure it out, but nobody should take a half hour to figure out what your paycheck's going to be.
It should be a report. It should be very easy and simple.
But here's the other thing. Like I know when I used to have to approve like the paychecks and stuff. If somebody didn't punch out for lunch, we had a sheet so I could look to make sure that if I punched them out, I was that they legitly took a lunch. So if nothing was written, they didn't take a lunch, I wasn't taking it out because that's stealing from the employee.
Oh yeah, I
like. Are you telling me how do you even know if they're taking out your lunches and stuff?
They don't change that. So we still clock in and out every day because we still get an hourly.
But your pay stub is supposed to reflect.
Well, it does tell how many hours we work. So we can. So there's a report each week like, hey, these are all in the district. You know, these are all the people that are like always not taking lunches. It's like a no, and it's just a way for every company to steal a little bit of your time away from you. And then so my name came up. I was always on that report for 5 years. So Luke's stopped putting lunches on my schedule. Just so my name wouldn't go on that report. because if it was like a half an hour or an hour, like you weren't getting work out of me. Like, no, like I would just walk away, and our shop's too busy. So like everybody, you'd clock out for lunch and you just go back to work. Or you would eat for for 5 minutes, because as a technician, I only get paid when my bays are turning. When that car is sitting there, I'm not getting paid if I'm not working on it. So I clock out for half-hour lunch. I eat my lunch in 5 minutes, and I go back to work on that car, because the faster I can get that car out, the faster I can get a next car in. So that's the company taking from me, because I'm giving them.
It's fraud.
So I'm like, no.
Are there labor laws in Florida that has for every 8 hours work, they must give you a 30-minute break?
Yes. So it's 6 hours.
Yeah.
After anything 6 hours is you have to take you're supposed to take a 30.
Well, you're mandated by law to take that if you want. There's no law that says you have to walk. You have to walk away for half an hour.
4 hours, you're entitled to 15 minutes,
right?
break.
Yeah, I thought it was something like that. 4 hours, because I go back to my Burger King days.
Yeah,
where it was, they would make you take a 30-minute lunch. They said,
now they try to say it's mandated, right? Like my company used to be like, you have to tell them they have to.
Yeah,
I can't make someone take a lunch. Right. So what I would do is that if I knew people who were like habitual offenders that didn't clock out for lunches, right? They maybe just took a 15, which is on us. They're entitled to that 15 and they didn't go past it. They didn't abuse it. They weren't like 30 minutes on my 15. I just would schedule them so they were exactly at 6 hours, so they didn't have to take a lunch. Because it's anything past 6 hours.
Gotcha.
Then they got to take. Well, so if you scheduled them, like 8 to 1, that's 5 hours, 8 to 2, then they don't have to take lunch. But if it's 8 to 2:30 or 8 to 3, they have to take that 30 minutes.
I'm still blown away, Kevin, if the company is paying commission off of commissionable work, why is there not a report at the end of the week that can be printed off that reads off, here are the people in the shop this week, here's how many hours Kevin worked, Bob worked, Jeff worked. I
just think it's so weird.
And here's your flat rate hourly, and then here's your commissionable work, and here's what your commission is.
Oh yeah, because then you got to figure out how much comes off that commission, because like what we said, we have what's called a double bogey. So say I work 40 hours a week at $10 an hour, that's $400. So the company multiplies that by 2, so that's $800. So if I do $5,000 in sales, they take that $800 off that $5,000. So now I only make, so my commission is now what, $4,200.
Wow.
So that's what I get paid on that $4,200, and then that's always 2 weeks behind, but your paycheck is always 1 week behind, and then you have overtime commission, which I don't even know how to figure that out. They've never explained that. Crazy. So if I work over 40 hours, because that was a big thing like the company, like the more money you make, kind of the more money you lose. So you don't want to really go over 40 hours, but they do have an overtime commission, which I don't know how that works. I can't even figure that out.
And is overtime taken off your bonus then?
We don't know how that works.
No, and
like
it's
nobody
always taxed. So
nobody knows how that part
Sometimes
works. Not even
separately tax that, which is weird.
So I don't even know how that works. Yeah. So
I'm gonna say goodnight because I gotta get kids ready for early wake up tomorrow morning.
So
good night.
See ya. Good night.
So I don't know how that works. Which is crazy, but I just know we all have our goals that we set for ourselves each week. It's like, hey, I know if I work 40 hours, I do $10,000 in service work based on the one report I pull. I know within a couple hundred, probably within $150 what my paycheck's going to be.
Right,
but it's still a surprise when I get my check.
When I post this, Jessica's going to skip the first hour and a half and see what we said about her from this point moving forward.
Yeah. But it's crazy. Now at Firestone, which is the same company, they're flat rate. Like those typical mechanic. They know what they're getting paid. They pull their report up at the end of the week. I worked 120 flat rate hours. I know how much my paycheck is.
Yeah, I remember when I worked at hospice, trying to figure out what my commission would be was like, you know, when you were an employee, like if you were a rep, you got paid off of admissions. So if I said, you know, we're going to set up some goals, but the goals really didn't have anything to do with how you got paid. It just was like, you know, you're an experienced person, Kev, you know, you're working. We expect you to get about 15 patients enrolled this month. And you got paid $200 a patient, right?
Yeah.
Flat rate. Your salary plus that. As a manager, you got paid off of the performance of the branch.
Yeah.
So what would end up happening is we'd have people that were getting admissions into hospice, and they would get $200 or $150 or whatever it was a person. They would freaking get 20 admissions. They were making, you know, a decent salary, so they were banking money. But then 80% of the people that they brought in would die within like the first couple of days. And the way that hospice works is because it's mostly through Medicare, is they pay a per diem. So they pay like $142 a day until I think the first 10 days. And then you get a one lump amount from the government for 6 months, because I think the hospice diagnosis is estimated 6 months are left, you know, to, you know, of life. So those first 10 days, you got the one lump 6 months. And if that person died on day 12, you had that overage. Now, you didn't want to have too many of those because then that would raise the red flag and you'd have to pay back money. But what would end up happening is, you know, we'd have freaking 40 admissions one month. Everyone would be high-fiving each other. But, you know, we'd have, you know, certain percentage of people who are already on service pass away. We'd lose 80, you know, 60%, 70% of the people being brought on service. So, our admission at that time, you know, for the facility, you know, overall, we had all these people admitted, but then if somebody died, and if we had somebody die on service, our census could drop. And then when our census drops and we're paying out $3,000, $4,000 to bring someone on service and they die after 2 days and you've only collected $284, you're losing money at the branch level, you know, and then you're paying out salaries. And I'm getting paid off of EBITDA and blah, 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 and all this shit. And I'm going, oh, I got a $400 commission check. You know, that person over there got like a $3,000 commission check. And I actually had to have a pretty, and when you talk about hospice, it's like a tough conversation to have because you talk about people, but you're like, listen, you know, we have to reevaluate our strategy because, you know, yes, we're doing the right thing. We're bringing people on hospice, but at this rate, we're going to have to lay off a bunch of people, and the branch is going to go down to twos because, you know, of just the amount of folks we're bringing on and how quickly they're dying. And we'd have a bunch of people pissed off at me for bringing this up. And I said, here's the deal. I'm not trying to be the bad guy here, and I'm not trying to be looking at this from a sales perspective, but a part of me has to, because that's how the business stays in business. We are not a non-for-profit. And you have to have someone who's aware of these things, because if you don't, then no one's going to have a job.
Yeah, and then I think the bane of all businesses, and I know it's that way with ours, is commission based. Say, you know, that's it's a double-edged sword. You know, it's just when you're encouraging people, when you get, you know, on commission, it's just you get a little, you know, not shady, but you know, when people are like, oh, you know, just, you know, I got it, you know, I'm not going to make any money. I got to get commission. You know, my store manager right now is in Hawaii with my area manager. They get to spend 5 days in Hawaii, you know, probably costing the company $20,000 because they had a good quarter, you know, right. Like the shop was the number one in the state or something. And it's just like, and what sucks on that is like all the guys in the shop now have to work, extra hours. The sales staff, they have to work extra days because our store manager and our area managers in Hawaii, celebrating off the backs of us.
Yeah.
So what did we get? What did we get? He got a trip to Hawaii and a $10,000 bonus.
Right.
For that. What did I get?
Right.
Just yeah.
It's crazy. It's yeah, when you get lopsided shit like that, and I've, like you said, I've seen the same thing where, managers are the people here are making so much more, and these people here are doing all the work, and the salesperson makes freaking the big bucks, and the bigger manager making the big bucks, and you got all these people making hardly anything that are doing all the hard work, that are getting all the recognition. The company's getting recognition off of their hard work. And, it's, you can't even get a fucking proper reimbursement for freaking internet, which you use for your job or whatever the case may be. But then, like I said, I've seen it in the hospice where you got the branch manager who, and I got along with one of my branch managers. Well, one of them was just a dope, but they're still working their ass off, moving around freaking, people. They're trying to find, work. They're doing everything they can to provide the best possible care for the people on our system and on our program, and still care for the people who are currently on our program. And you got someone out there who's just literally doing, like I said, going in and making a big freaking whopping commission check, and their approach, they're not open for trying anything new. They're not open for trying new strategies because it would be harder for them. Their commission goes down, and their activities are actually causing the company to go under.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I seen Farr would do that too. I worked for a company. I worked for a company that went under like really, really quickly. We sold an antibiotic. We had an antibiotic that was maybe like $150, right? Or $200 for the antibiotic. We had one, you could either use one of two coupons. You could either use a coupon that gave you half the freaking prescription for free, or use a coupon that gave you freaking like 50 or 40% off. They found a way to use both coupons. Oh. So I had my manager sit down with me and go, hey man, the New York team is their prescription numbers are 3 times yours. For every one script you get, they're getting 3. What's the problem? I said, for every script that is written in my area, the company makes $85. For every prescription that's written in their area, the company loses $35. And they said, yeah, but we need volume. We need volume.
Yeah.
Volume.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, they're losing the company money.
Oh, we've had our area managers say that when because you have metrics, so many same store visits, yep. Customers, tire sales, everything else. When we're low on a certain metric, he'll call up and he goes, give tires away, give them away for free, lose money. We need the units. We need the units. And I go, that doesn't fucking make sense. It doesn't make sense to give stuff away. Yeah, but the company only cares about units. You need to sell your units. Give prescriptions. You need units. You need tires. Give the tire away. And I'm like, what? Why don't we just make money? Well, I don't understand. Why don't we just make money? It's just that's not how the corporate thinks.
Yeah, we moved 1,000 tires this month, and we lost freaking how much money? Yeah, but we moved 1,000 tires.
Yeah, we moved 1,000 tires. And I know the money is there. Because we're we own the farms that manufacture the rubber. We own the processing plant. We own the factory. We're a vertically integrated company from planting that seed into the ground for the rubber tree until I put that tire on your car. We owned everything. So the numbers are skewed. they're never going to tell us exactly. You're like, oh, we lost money. Did we lose money?
Right.
So, but yeah, it's absolutely crazy. When I met our new service manager, about a month ago, and one of the new salesmen, and he's like, man, he goes, because the sales manager position been open for a while, and he goes, man, you know how to do everything. I said, like, because he got brought in from another store, and he goes, man, like all the stores talk about you, like you can do everything. Like you're one of the only techs that can write a customer up, sell his own work, call do everything, ring the customer out. And he's like, why don't you ever become a service manager? I go, because I make about $15,000 a year more than you. And I go, and I can never be fired. And he's like, what? And I go, yeah, I'm like, like one of the best techs. Like they can't get rid of me. Like we had one of our techs that worked in our shop. He's a friend of mine, Jimmy. And I was telling him, I go, we had Jim Ryan. I go, he punched another employee and like threatened the store manager's life. You know what the company did? They moved him to another store because he's a good technician and we can't find good technicians. I go, I could literally just punch you in the face right now, and my job is secure. Like they're gonna ask you like what you did to piss me off, So, and that's how it's gonna be. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not going up that ladder, because
right.
I said your job is always, like you've seen it, like it's the numbers. Oh, you don't have your numbers, we're gonna give you a 2-day suspension, to think about what you did.
We're gonna freaking middle management, dude.
Yeah, we're either gonna cut your hours or we're gonna cut your days off. Oh, your sales are slow. You know what? Next week, now you have to work 7 days next week to try and get your numbers up. I go, that'll never happen to me. So because I pay for myself, I'm always running at 110% or more productivity. So yeah, I'm
It's amazing how that works, and I think what's even more amazing is that they say shit rolls downhill, but when you have middle management, it defies gravity and it goes uphill and just kind of settles there because you're getting shit from everybody, like you said, the technicians or the salespeople. You're trying to freaking juggle that freaking end of it, and then you got freaking corporate, and then all the upper people are coming down because you're supposed to be responsible. And it's like, when I went from being a hospice manager and I went back into pharmaceuticals as a rep, I remember the manager asking me, he goes, are you going to be able to transition back to being a rep? I go, what do you mean? He's like, you're used to being a manager. You're used to running things. You're used to doing this. You're used to doing that. How are you going to transition? I said, where are you going after our interview? He goes, I'm going to another interview. I said, then what are you doing? He goes, then I'm going back home, and then I got to travel to the home office and have some more meetings. I said, then what's the rest of your week looks like? Then we do this meeting. I go, so you mean to tell me that if I take this job that I can stay in my own home, work in my own territory, and be home every night for dinner? He goes, yeah. I said, I think I'll transition well. And he started laughing because it was like I was so over that type of activity. And I remember a good buddy of mine who was my manager, when I became a manager, he said, why did you do it? He just told me, he goes, buddy, it's not worth that 10% pay increase on your salary.
And to always have that target, on your head, like your management's the first to go, like a good technician, a good oil change guy, a good rep, like I said, those guys are pretty secure.
Making you the money.
They're making you the money, it's always management. And then, middle management is where in a corporation is where it gets fucking stuck because the corporate guys rely on so we have our store manager, area manager, and then regional manager. Well, it never makes it to the regional manager is where it gets stuck. So past the regional manager, there's like 3 levels in corporate before it gets to essentially the CEO of the company. It never goes past him. Like the upper management never know. They never know what they don't want to know what's going on.
Right.
And it's so right in that middle management, it gets it gets stuck. And they used to before I transferred to this location, though they closed our last one. Like the court, it was right off the highway. We were a busy store, so like the corporate guys would come in, and we had me and the other lead technician Robert, and the regional guys and the store manager always shielded like me and Robert from talking to those guys. And so it was always funny. It got to a point to where like the guys would come in and they'd come straight to Robert and I. And I remember one day, the area manager, actually we called them district managers then, like made a beeline and tried to get, in between like him and, Robert and I, like, hey, what's going on? Like small talk. And the guy goes, can you go back inside for a few minutes? I just want to talk to my guys, and like really see what the fuck is going on in this company. And that was great. And then we transitioned away from those, like now, like the corporate guys, they don't come into the stores. Like they're completely shielded from the stores. They don't understand what's going on a day by day basis, of why, tire count is low or why this or this or this. So they just rely on, that next chain up to give the answers. But yeah, Robert and I mean, we had no filters at all because we knew our jobs were safe.
Yeah.
And that's why they'd always ask us. And I was like, oh, so what's going on? And, you'd point over to the store manager and the area manager. See those two assholes over here? They're why you're not making any money, and they hated it.
Yeah, it's if stuff reaches those higher levels, their response is usually just handle it. This should not be on my plate.
Yeah, that should be handling. We went through remodels probably about 8 years ago, where I kid you not, someone in an office came out with a plan for all the shops of like which bays would do which work and then where the equipment would be. So it didn't make any sense. And so they came in and remodeled our shop, the old shop I used to work at, and they were moving a piece of equipment. And I'll be like, hey, that can't go here. Like that's in the way, like that's just not conducive to way this shop functions, because not every shop is the same because of building codes in different regions. And the guy brought out a plan. He goes, nope, this is how they said your shop is to be set up. And it was just dumb. And so luckily, before everything was finalized, one of those corporate guys came in and talking to me and Robert. And it's like, hey, so how's the new remodel going? I go, it's dumb. It's dumb. I go, let me take a look. I got this piece of equipment, but this other piece of equipment's right here in its way. So now I'm doing twice the work. And I'm like, who the fuck came up with this? So the guy's like telling the installers that were there for a couple of days, hey, move this piece of equipment. Wherever he tells you to move it, just move it. I'll sign off on it if it comes back. And it's just like, but yeah, it was a guy that has probably never changed a tire or replaced a spark plug or whatever a day in his life, decided that to make a plan for every store to make everything flow more efficiently. And then it was just a flat change across everything. And it's just like, what the hell is this?
We had that in pharmaceuticals where someone on the ivory tower, we always called it, would say, hey, the goal this year or this quarter is this much. And hey, we have a new reach and frequency model. And I remember they rolled it out to our team. This is years ago. And I looked at it and I'm like, this isn't going to work. And my manager was like, why not? I go, this is great in New York or Philly or, these high population density because you're going to have more physicians in a smaller, radius. You're going to be able to reach more physicians. You're going to be able to have more frequency on these physicians. What happens when you're in freaking the Pittsburgh area? It's great, but our territory is a lot of rural areas. After you leave Pittsburgh proper, heading north, it's just a lot of country. Same south, same west, same east. And they're like, what do you think? I said, we need to do this. And she said, if you're going to do that, you do it. And you're going to either freaking look good or you're going to look shitty. And it actually ended up working for our market. And it worked really, really well to the point where they implemented that plan up in upstate New York. Because again, when you hear New York, you think of New York City. You don't think of Syracuse, which is Syracuse and then fucking mountains. Like you can't have a model or, like you said, a schematic or a layout that's a plug and play unless every single location is going to be the same. If you're going to build every location to be cookie cutter, Chick-fil-A, whatever, then it makes sense. But if you're dealing with something completely different in different markets, different size, locations, buildings, and so on and so forth, to try and squeeze that square peg into a round hole is going to be an epic failure. And then you're going to sit back and look at it and go, well, why didn't you succeed? Well, there's an old saying, if you're going to hold me accountable, you have to let me be able. I need the ability in order to be accountable. You can't make me accountable if I'm not able to do things.
Yeah. Yeah, you're 100% right. The last company I worked at, it got bought out. It was a chain of stores up in Boston, and it was just flat, and they ended up failing. They bought 8 stores here in Florida. This is going back probably 18, 20 years ago. And it was a cookie cutter model. These are our pricing structures. This is how we do things. We've got 35, 40, 50 stores, whatever, in the Boston, proper region. And they tried to apply that to 8 stores in Southwest Florida.
Yeah.
And it failed. Every single shop closed, and luckily I got out. I saw it coming, and I got out before the end. And it's just like, and there was probably, regional manager got fired, district manager got fired. Everybody lost their jobs. And it's just like, you just can't apply a cookie cutter approach to to a set of locations in a different state, a different market, the downfall of corporations.
No, I when I worked for Purdue, they actually had a really good model where they basically said they actually would look at how much you generated in a quarter. And what they would do is they'd say, the fourth quarter, your goal is to match or exceed what you did in the second quarter. So they wouldn't forgive it. They would go back 2 quarters. And a lot of what would end up happening is if you were knocked off formulary and your drug wasn't, like we had a lot of folks, if it was on Medicaid, you'd make a ton of money because they'd write these brand products hand over fist. But if you lost it, it was like, okay, I'm going to take it in the pants for about a year, because it would take, if you lost a big insurance when it comes to drugs being on formulary coverage, and if you have a prominent insurance company in your market and you get knocked off that insurance, it takes a year for you to kind of reset, because then now you're going to be judged based off of numbers that exist within that market, within your current status at the formulary status, rather. If you're prior to that, it's like, okay, you got to do what you did last quarter, 2 quarters ago. Well, 2 quarters ago, I was on formulary and we made $800,000 in that quarter. This quarter, I'm not on formulary. I'm probably going to make $350,000. I'm going to lose money. So you'll bleed out for a full year until you're actually able to be judged against the numbers that are legit. And that was really the only downfall I seen to that model, but it was really the model that made the most sense, because if you were put back on formulary, then it was like, this quarter I'm up to 850,000, and last, that's being compared to 300,000. I had X amount percent increase, and then that's how people would make these big fucking commission checks. But overall, it was pretty steady. It was pretty consistent, and it was fair, because if you were in a shitty market, you got compared against shitty numbers. If you were in a great market, you got compared against your great numbers, and it was your own numbers.
Oh yeah. No, like our company's the same way. Like that's why we have turnover on the management level. So an average manager can make really good money for like 5 or 6 years, and then he almost gets capped out because these numbers keep, you did good last year, so now we want X amount over this year, X amount over this year, X amount over this year. So then you get to the point where you can't make those numbers anymore. So either A, you get fired, or you get moved to another store, or the manager just quits. Then the store tanks for almost a year. So because it takes a good, like you're saying, a good year to get that back in. So now all your numbers have reset. So now, he's going to make good money for, 4, 5, 6 years until that gets capped out. He decides to bounce because now he's not making still making the money, more money each time, but he's not hitting those numbers, those arbitrary numbers that get tagged on him. And then he bounces for another job, or he goes to another store that's underperforming. So all his numbers reset. So he takes it in the chin for a year at a new store. And then for the next 5 years, he's doing good, until he's back to where he started from, and it's a never ending.
It's not sustainable growth. It's not realistic and sustainable growth. Like you said, it's these big, waxing and waning. And then what ends up happening is if that guy gets fired, that girl gets fired, the person who comes in and steps in, once those numbers kind of level out, then they look like the hero. It's like, oh my gosh, location, 135 is, remember how bad they were sucking and they were really struggling? They're blowing up. That new manager, it really has it going on. No, they stepped into they stepped in at the right moment,
Yeah.
And it's like that. And it's having good, real sustainable growth is what's important. Same thing with cigars. It's like, what? You can have a big order come through or and it would freaking be great, but you'll spike and you'll order all these cigars and they come in, and then if it doesn't do well, it just drops.
Yeah.
And it's just like our company, we want good sustainable growth, year after year. And as long as there's growth, you're moving in the right direction. And at some point, when you get that pop will pop and will actually take you up and allow you to keep moving up versus getting these big pops early on. That's why, I've always, in my opinion, some of the newer companies, when they go to PCA, unless they are really have a sound base of money and they have a sound base of cigars to fulfill those orders, they'll be okay. But if you go in without having inventory or the proper inventory, you could go in there and have all these great orders on paper, but if you can't fill them, or if you're filling them slowly and then people are backing out and they want their money back and stuff or whatever, then you're fucked.
Yeah, or you're like the one company we talked about, I told them not to release that cigar, PCA, and they went ahead and got the cigars made, got them all in, and like, this is our new cigar, and they hit that, they broke the bank ordering those in, and last I heard, they are not doing well, and it's just like same thing. It's like, fuck,
yeah,
that was a hell of an investment that's not gonna pay off.
No,
it's
no, it's not. It's
I don't get it.
Everybody wants to grow overnight, and it's like, growing locally and regionally right now is the focus, and we're doing pretty well. And I talked to Chris. We had a long talk the other day about some plans and ideas that we're going to move forward with the blends, maybe coming out with some new blends, and then also looking at short runs of Vitolas to see how they test in the market.
Yeah,
and doing different Vitolas and doing something like that. I'm going to come out with the deconstructed barber poles as well. That's going to probably be a regular. So it's just being smart about it. And I have a couple of shops that really are interested in the deconstructed. And if they do well in 3 or 4 shops, they kill it and they love it, and we're growing. I mean, it doesn't make sense for me to try, and I did it before when I first started. You try, and when you start stretching, you get that first order is great, and you're like, well, I'm in 14 states and I got all these orders. But to try and sustain that when you're not able to give it your 1,000% attention or what have you, it's very challenging.
And yeah, and it's paying those bills, when you're in, to say I'm in 200 stores, and I'm in 14 states, and it's just like the bills just get bigger, like the checks you're writing exponentially get bigger while the profit that you're making exponentially gets smaller. It seems like it's
and
just
those
never.
checks you're writing actually come more frequently.
Yeah,
those checks you're writing are going out faster than it's coming in.
Then it's when you're a net 60 going out, but that guy sending in either wants payment on demand or a net 30. So it's
it's crazy, man.
It's nuts. So all right. I think on that note, I'm Broadleaf Bully Kevin.
I'm Broadleaf for Kerr.
I'm Broadleaf Bully Kevin.
I'm Broadleaf Bully Kerr. And remember, bullies make
good friends. Wait a minute. Is that our?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Bullies make. Yeah. I'm just trying to think. Did we say that at the beginning? So,
I fucked them up. I fucked up last week.
Yeah. I think that's what it is. I'm Broadleaf Bully Kevin.
I'm Broadleaf Bully Kerr. And remember,
bullies make good friends.
From Kev, Jess, Kerr, and Jen, we are the Broadleaf Bullies. Thank you for joining us, and remember, bullies make good friends.